So I'm going to be touching on Venus. The astrology of marriage and the mysteries of Venus. In the marriage settings, we have the mother, which is the moon, and then we have Saturn, right? It takes these two to make this. Do you know what I mean? Now, the moon cometh forth in her full essence, basically bringing everything to the table, is what I mean, that the moon comes in her full essence. So we have the full moon, which is the fullness of the moon in her purest essence, in her fullest essence, holding nothing back, like bringing everything to the table, is what I mean. And then we have Saturn. But there's something attached to Saturn here that cannot come into this place. If you remember a post I made on Facebook where I said the innate qualities of men becomes positive only and within the family structure, only and within the marital system, only and within marriage. Now, what do I mean? Saturn. The Greeks have a mythology. This is Saturn. Yes, the cross. That's Saturn's symbol originally. There's a reason why this is attached to symbol. Now, in the Greek mythology, there's this whole mythology that the Greeks have about when the sky and the earth was impressed upon each other, so there was really no space for the children of Gaia to evolve and grow and like learn about themselves, because the sky god, which is Uranus, right? Uranus being the sky god, the sky father, his reign was very chaotic, so his impression upon Gaia, right, did not allow the children of Gaia to come forth and express themselves and to go forth and learn and discover more about themselves. So Gaia had a plan, had an idea, and then she called on her children. And Saturn, which happens to be Kronos, was the only person that had the guts to proceed with that plan. And Gaia gave him a sickle. You know what a sickle is? Like if you're into agriculture, you use the sickle to harvest rice. Sometimes they use it to like fight and all of that stuff. So this is like behead people and what. That's not what I'm talking about. But basically, why it's an instrument of war. Let's come outside of the agricultural stuff. It's an instrument of war, right? The sickle is what Saturn wielded. So the next time Uranus was coming to impress upon Gaia, Saturn pounced on him and castrated him with the sickle. It's why when you bring the cross here, you put it here, then you have Saturn. So this is Saturn with the sickle on it. Now, this is a predatory side of Saturn. Saturn can't go into a partnership. Saturn can't go into a partnership with this stuff of him, because that's not whom he is. That is when he's not in his best self. Now, what do I mean? Saturn now comes into the union, and then it becomes this. That's Venus, without the sickle. You understand what I'm saying? Without the sickle. Now, when you look at, don't mind my cycle, it's not very correct. Now, when you look at Capricorn, Capricorn has Aries in the fourth, right? Cancer in the, and then Libra here, right? Saturn rules Capricorn. Capricorn has Aries in the fourth house. That is the mother, right? And that is emotional expressions. So when Capricorn becomes emotional, then it takes on the sickle. It takes on the sickle when it becomes emotional. That is the weapon that the mother gave to him. The mother gave to him, which is an instrument of war. That's Aries. Aries is the mother of Capricorn. You understand what's going on here now? This is the mythology of what they were trying to tell you guys. It's all on all this stuff. This is what I say. This is cosmic law. This is not science. This is symbolism. This is the language of the spirits, for those who don't understand. Now, the mother gave him a sickle to castrate his father, which he did. And for that case, now chaos now became order. So Saturn was the very, energy that brought, the very expression of divinity that brought order into the realm of humanity. Right? So therefore, he left the sickle. He's taking that out of him because he becomes predatory. I had not finished before I cleaned that stuff. Because there's so much for me to touch on this, stuff here. It becomes predatory when it becomes emotional. Well, that's what happens. It takes on the sickle. But he can't bring the sickle in because the moon is now the full moon in her fullest essence. She's bringing everything to the table. So This guy is the innate qualities, just being a predator, being on his emotional side, having emotional tantrums, makes him, take on the sickle, which is the instrument of war. So he can't bring it into the union. It's why you see this cross appears here. That is Saturn without the sickle. This is what makes the Venus, the mother and the father, coming together. Now, Venus now rules Taurus and Libra. You now see the moon is exalted in Taurus. Saturn is exalted in Libra. Do you now see how these two become this? You understand what I'm saying here? Because when you take this into consideration now, you consider that you see that Saturn, letting not being on his emotional side, he reaches his highest potential when he reaches a point of balance. So Saturn is exalted in Libra, which is in his 10th place. You understand? If you read astrology charts, you can pull up an astrology chart. When you see Capricorn and the ascendant, Libra is going to be in the 10th house. Now, Saturn still remains the cross. But when you take the cross and you put the cross, like you put it upside down, it becomes what? It becomes a sword. So when Saturn becomes emotional, it takes on the form of a sword. It becomes an instrument of war, including the sickle also. You understand what I'm saying now? Including the sickle. So this our guy is still an instrument of war. Is why he falls in Aries, which is when he becomes this sword. The inverted sword, the inverted cross is the sword. It's what they used to conquer. Or it's basically in the age of religion, the age of Pisces. That is the inverted sword is now the cross. It's all Saturnian expressions. Saturn falls in Aries, it becomes emotional. It begins to give tantrums. That is when it gets into his primal instinct. It becomes predatory. It's why I say the innate qualities of men become only positive within the marriage. Outside of that, it's just pure love, the jungle. He's still on the side, he's still taking on the sickle. So he's carving out anything, he's castrating anything before his parts. That is basically what he's doing. So if you take that, you see that this Saturn falls in Aries. This is the sword. Aries is the sword. You understand my point? Now, when Saturn isn't the sword and then he's sitting upright, what does that mean? It's what is, it becomes an instrument that allows the scale to exist. And the scale is Libra. You understand what's going on here now? So this is Saturn being exalted in Libra and falls in Aries by virtue of what I just demonstrated here. Now we go to say that Venus is exalted. This is the interesting part in Pisces. You understand my point? So these two coming together, Saturn is actually slower than the Sun, if you consider that. Saturn is actually slower than the Sun, but the Moon is faster than Saturn. But then these two merge together to become Venus. This guy letting go of his predatory side and taking on positive qualities, and the Moon coming in her fullest essence. You see? So, Venus is exalted in Pisces, which is the bedroom. You understand what I'm saying? This is where couples agree. This is where they compromise. It's in the bedroom that, you know there's a saying that when the bed in the room, in the house, it always shakes every night or something like that, then you know that there's peace in the home for that reason. This is the sign of understanding. And compassion. Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces. So these two now, let's come back to this. These two now coming together to, become Venus. Venus now becomes faster than the Sun. It becomes lighter than the Sun. So you see why Venus is exalted in spirit. Spirit is lighter than matter. This guy is basically like the external expression of things. Is the Sun. The Moon is the internal. So they come together now to become lighter than the Sun. And they are exalted. Venus being exalted in Pisces. Pisces is spirit. So they become light. This is the union. This is the mystery of marriage. You understand me? But then it gets deeper than this. Now what do I mean? People often have these things confused because we are talking about the family structure here. We're talking about the family structure. And appears like the son is missing. The child, rather. You understand? The son is the child. So we are looking at Israel. We are looking at Israel, which is Isis, which is Ra, and then the father. So this is Isis, this is Ra, and this is Er. This is a combination of what Israel is. When you hear of Er, that's the father, Saturn, and the son is the child. The mother is Isis. But there's another thing here that goes on when we understand, when we begin to take in, global economics into the when we begin to take global economics into the into consideration, right? Now, what do I mean? These two makes a Venus. The moon and Saturn makes a Venus. Then where does the sun come in? Now, see what is going on here. Can use this side of the board. Start from Aries, right? So that's Capricorn in the 10th house. And we have Cancer here. Because the sun is not out of the equation yet. This is the power of the children of Israel. We. So Saturn is black and brown. We are black and brown skin. Are you following? We are revitalized by the sun. The sun gives us vitality. And then the moon is where we live in, the motherland. This is what makes us up. You understand what I'm saying? We are the sun people. We are black and brown skin. And we live in the motherland. That's the motherland. Cancer. Leo. Then Saturn rules Aquarius and Capricorn. Now, Cancer opposes Capricorn. Leo and Aquarius oppose each other. You see what's going on here now? Well, this is the entire family structure of the universe. Of we, the children, the Israelites, the indigenous people. We are black and brown skin. We carry carbon in our system. It's why we appear black and brown, right? That's Saturn, that's carbon, that's melanin, right? Dark matter. You understand me? And then we are the sun people. And the sun gives us vitality. And we live in the motherland. So this is Israel. But now, when we are looking at the sun in these settings now, we are looking at the sun in these settings now, right? A blue marker, I decided to be a good guy today, so I'm going to continue with the red. Oops, it's very shiny. So, right, so we have this here. There's something that is Sun and Venus, because we have taken into consideration the fact that the moon and Saturn makes a Venus. But in the entire family structure, the sun, the child, which is the sun, is still left out. Now there's something that happens here. These two combined create something that we call a cazimi. Or a Venus star point. When the sun conjuncts a planet at exact degree is called a cazimi. That's what it's called. So when these two, when every time they come together, creates a cazimi, and there's a particular pattern that they go with. Now listen. There are 5 signs that these two conjuncting for every 9 months and 2 weeks. It's consistent, and they continue conjuncting in that sign every 4 years. Say, for example, the one that happened in January, this January rather. Okay, today is 31st. There's one Venus and Sun conjunction that happened in Capricorn. The one before Capricorn was in Aries, right? And then the one before Aries was in Gemini. And the one before Gemini was in Leo. And then the one before that was in Libra, but that was the first one. But before then, we've had all of the ones in Scorpio. So Scorpio, that is what I've been telling you guys. The hookup paradigm. If you're doing hookup, it's time to end it. Prostitution, having sex for other people for their money and their resources is Scorpio. Assassination, genocide, right? And all those manufacturing, the WHO, the WHO has, in their logo, they have the serpent, right? With a stick in it and all of that. The serpent is Scorpio. It's a killing organization. It's not here to give you health or vitality. It's a killing organization, literally. And the United States just pulled out of it. That's Scorpio. You see, they pulled out of it. And when I was telling people that October, this stuff is going to go, that is the oil sector. Scorpio is the oil sector. But before I go on, let's see what is going on here. This is me connecting all of these points. Does this star look similar? This is the 5-pointed star of Venus. This is a Venus 5-point star. The star has a head, has an arm, right? 2 arms, and has 2 legs. What does that sound like? Allah, right? So when the Muslims pray, their forehead touches the ground, their 2 hands touches the ground, and then their legs touch the ground. That is the 5-point star. Venus is the planet. This is the 5-point star of Venus. When it conjuncts the sun, this is the pattern that it creates in the sky. You see this is your 5. The 5 senses of the human body. That's Venus. The 5 senses of the human body, right? That is the perfect man. When I say the morning star and the evening star, I'm the morning star, I am the evening star. I am the perfected creation. That's Venus. Morning star Venus is Taurus. And then the evening star Venus is Libra. What do I mean? The morning star Venus carries the Libran expression. Morning star Venus carries the Taurus expression. The evening star Venus carries the Libra expression. So that's the earth goddess and then the prince of the air. Have you heard that word? The prince of the air? Yes. That's it. That's the prince of the air. That's earth goddess. These are the twain. When I said that the moon and Saturn, becomes Venus. And the man shall leave mother and father and shall cling unto himself, and the twin shall become one. Right? So you have to understand what's going here now with the Venus star point or the Venus cazimi points. Now, what do I mean? Aries is sports. You see the whole craze of sports, people wanting to be fans of this club and that club. That's the value system. Venus is the human value system. It's where people interests are currently, where they are willing to put enough money to spend money on, to own things in that realm. That is Aries, including sex too. But we are looking at prostitution here to be Scorpio, because that is basically the sign of other people's resources. Having sex with other people for their money, right? So Scorpio is a lot of things. Scorpio is death. We've noticed genocide, mass killings, terrorism. Scorpio is terrorism. Since the past century up to now. Each of these points runs for 100 years. So what happens is, currently, the one that happened in January happened in Scorpio. The next time there's going to be a Venus and Sun conjunction in Scorpio is going to be in 4 years' time. And then from Scorpio is going to move to not Scorpio. Capricorn. From Capricorn is going to move to Scorpio. Right? And that is going to be the last one in Scorpio. So this is Scorpio, right? Venus is going to station retrograde in Scorpio in October. Right? Sometime in October is going to station retrograde in Scorpio. So we have Libra here. And the Sun is going to be in Libra then when Venus is going to be in Scorpio. So Venus is going to be an evening star when it begins to station retrograde in Scorpio as an evening star Venus. What does this mean? That is law, order, judgment, balance, everything being restored. Everything, balance being restored to all of the injustices that has been committed throughout when the Scorpio paradigm has been on genocide, terrorism, and all of that stuff. When I told you people that laws will be visited, constitutions will be amended, and all of those things, this is what I was talking about, right? So, Venus is going to go retrograde here in October, and then it's going to move backwards as the Sun progresses. They are going to conjunct in 0 degrees. in 0 degrees of Scorpio, because that's how the start point is. So basically, you have a sign, for example, let's basically just say Scorpio, right? So we have like 28 degrees here, 29, 30, like, So when the first star point happened in Scorpio, it happened in 29 degrees, or basically 28 degrees. Then it skips a degree. Every 4 years, it skips a degree and comes back. It skips a degree and comes. And then now we are at the 0 point. So it starts from the end of a sign to the beginning. It exits. It moves like this. The star point moves like this. Which other thing do you think moves like this? That's the lunar nodes, right? They move clockwise. They don't go in zodiacal order. They move clockwise. Because the zodiacal order goes anti-clockwise. You understand what I'm saying? So they move clockwise. So you see the expression is still feminine. And this is not about gender. For those that will come and make it about gender, this is not about gender, basically. You understand what I'm saying? And hey, women, no, this is not about gender. This is a principle. When I say feminine principle, I have nothing to do with gender. Don't mistake it to be something about gender. That's not what we are talking about here. And all that gender wars. And this Scorpio paradigm points to a lot of things. But one thing here that I point to that I want to really emphasize is the oil sector. I see young boys building refinery. It's not like it's bad to invest your money, but you're not informed. No, you're not informed. And it really pains me. So the things that the elites know, when you see them parading this star, they are basically tell you that we know where it's shifting. We know what you are going to be buying the next decade, where you are going to, you're just going to be living this thing and be like, this is what I want to spend money on. Hook up was actually paying. People are in different levels of it. Women sleeping with men for money in different grades of it. It comes in different, including the ones that it has gotten them a Lamborghini. It's still there. It's just how you run your game, but that was a valid paradigm. But it's dying now. You understand what I'm saying? It's dying now. So all that shit is ending. We are moving into Libra. Libra is clean air, is relationship, is unification, is partnership. Niche is green tech. It's green energy. You'll be hearing the word green energy. That's what we are moving into now. So when I tell people green energy, you think I'm joking. No. The star point has moved from Scorpio. It's now going into Libra. That is what I'm trying to explain here. When Venus stations retrograde and the 0 degrees, that will be the last one. We will never see the Sun and Venus conjunct again in Scorpio. It may be like another 2 centuries. Never. So all of the things that Scorpio points to that we have been seeing is all going to crash down, including the oil sector, the petroleum market. Everything is going down. Terrorism, everything is going down. Hook up, everything going. Those that are still fanatics about sports, they think they just manufactured, just out of passion. Having passion for things is basically Aries. Yes, having passion for things is basically Aries. Now, in sports, it is war. The war in the military-industrial complex. In case you've heard of that word, where they tell you that war is money, war is business. That's it. Because some people know that we are on this point here. Some people know that we are here. Is why they know that war is going to fetch the money. So they create artificial wars and manufacture weapons so that they can sell. The person whom they are using to instigate the war, they sell weapons to the person. And the person who is defending himself, they sell weapons to both parties. They make money. And they continue to sponsor other wars so that they can keep making weapons and make money. Because that's business. This is the Venus star point. You're a tech bro. You don't know why you suddenly started feeling like Gemini. That's tech. That's blogging. That is authors. People that write books. People that write books and make money from writing books. People that have knowledge more than like a group of people and they feel like, oh, let me monetize this knowledge. It's all Gemini. Let me monetize this information and sell it. It's all Gemini. Leo is content creation. And Leo is young people also. So when you see young people wanting to assume place of power, like Ibrahim Traore is a very young military head. The capitalists don't like it. Yes, we have a star point in Capricorn. So capitalism is still it's still there. So the old men have actually been in power. The star point supports for that to happen. And then we have one in Leo too. So we see young people coming to power. In fact, the recent Neptune in Aries transit, ingress into Aries, right? At the very time, 6:35 p.m. Nigerian time, when they actually did that transit, Leo was rising when that transit occurred. So a lot of young energy is coming into the planet right now. So young people are going to be assuming center stage in things. Because we are seeing the Capricorn star point, but is halfway in, same way as Leo, but there's going to be like, we are going to be seeing these two more like, as this is going, maybe this is building up kind of, but we are going to see young people in the realm of authority, in the seat of authority, being presidents, being governors, and young people are going to be stepping into politics. They are going to be interested into politics. Because Leo was rising when Neptune entered. So it's very important because that's the English chart. You can't make sense of what the transit is without getting the English chart. You have to know which sign was rising because that is the mode of expression for that ingress. It's very, very important. In case you're listening to me, you're wondering what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You understand me? So, the star point moves. Let me come back to this. It moves, and it gets to 0 degrees. That's what is happening here now. We've been in the Scorpio star point since 1926. So 2026 makes it towards 100 years. It's a century for each star point. So when it's yet to show that every 100 years there's a reset, there's a stop, and we are in a loop, that's jargon. There's nothing like a loop. Everything is a cycle. What do you mean loop? Loop what? You are trying to speak English. We are in a trap. We are in this other fear-based paradigm because that is what you people like to consume. So we'll tell you people all those things. But that's what you like to hear. You carry the fear-based thinking or thought form from religion. You've moved it into your whole journey of awakening. How do you expect to awaken? We have always been in a cyclical universe. Energy moves in cycle. It's law. It's nothing like a loop. There's no loop. It's a cycle. Jesus, man. It's a cycle. Loop called loop. Do you people know what loop is? Everybody go on the talk. So, then when this happens now, remember Venus is an evening star here. When it's in Scorpio. And the expression of the evening star is Libra. Libra is what? Is law. A lot of countries are going to enact laws that will go against the elite, the underworld. Yeah, it's going to, all of this. The hidden powers of the world is going to go against them. This stuff is done. When I tell you people like, the deep state, the hidden powers, the elites, all of them are going to fall. That is what I'm talking about. That is their energy, Scorpio. That's the energy I didn't operate. And so why US has been very powerful this whole time, especially with the whole craze about oil. Wanting to sponsor wars in countries so that they can have access to their resources. That's all that stuff. But the petroleum sector is crashing. And guess who is still dependent on it? The US. Because this is crashing now, they've put out of the WHO. Don't forget, they've put out of it. Now they are not using the area energy. Why I'm talking about these two is because these two are ruled by Mars. These people are Martian people. They are Martian people. They are Martian people. They came into power in the age of Aries. You understand what I'm saying? They came into power in the age of Aries. So, back to the whole stuff that is going to play out in October, from October to November. So, when Venus conjuncts the Sun in 0 degrees Scorpio, that's the end of the Scorpio paradigm. That's the end of it. Then it's going to go to become a morning star in Libra. So, we are having that Taurian expression of the morning star in Libra. That is the dawn of the Libra paradigm. We are coming. So, green tech. I know last time I'm talking about charging stations will replace filling stations. Filling station, all that stuff is all scorpiony. It's all scorpiony stuff. If you're listening to me, anybody you know, tell them to exit. If you're selling generator, don't restock your generator business. If you sell off anyone, just keep the money. Start researching on how you can have access to the Chinese market where they sell batteries and all this, because all that stuff, generator is going to be replaced by batteries, whether solar battery, inverters, and all that stuff is all green tech. That's where we are moving into. I'm saying it now because the people who have money can easily, they can absorb, they have shock absorber because they have money. They have that shock absorber. I'll use that thing for, financial mistakes. So even if they are in the oil sector and it crashes, they can easily transition into the green tech sector. These people have information. The information that they've been using to run things since people are traveling. No, you don't need this. Is the financial, the global financial system is what this runs on. You just need to know where the human value system is. Capricorn is hair, Brazilian hair, any kind of hair. I'm not a female, so I don't know all of those things. I'm not really interested in synthetic and all of those. I tried a little shot. So that's Capricorn. How do people know that? Oh, going to India or going to somewhere to make hair, get hair, sell all this hair is going to make money? Do you know how much money goes into that sector? Women are buying air, and someone knows this thing. It's why air is big business. Others just see that it's trending. See, one thing in this part of the world that I want people to get out of, this jackpot will not help us. It is information that will actually bring us out. As much as we need to stay here and fight for the government, there's still something we can still do outside of what just the government is doing. And we need information to do it. This information. This is the information. There's no magic. This is information. All of that, building, site development, construction, all those road construction companies and all of those things. The people that know that all of this construction thing is coming into. In the ancient time, we didn't have third road. Make it make sense. We didn't have third road. Not in the ancient time, but at least not quite far back. We didn't have third road. So why are we having them now? Because it's all construction, right? That's Capricorn. That's where your money is going into now. Everybody sees road coming into their own village, their own local community as a sign of development, because you are thinking according to what the Venus star point is. And that's why people will run off and say, now I've gotten the juice. I want to kind of know you were born under a particular star point. Don't forget. You are born under a particular star point. And if you don't know your own, you will not know where to invest in, because you can't invest outside of what you own. Because the star has a head, has an arm, has a leg. You need to know the head of your own. I know my own, you don't know your own. It's why I said on Facebook some time ago, I said, look, I can show you the 5 realms of the human value system. This is it. I'll show you where the money is, which paradigm is going out, which one is coming in, where to invest, which one you were born in, your particular star. The head is very important for you. You need to know that. If that is the only one you know, there are others, I can tell you that, but the head is the main focus. Once you know that, then you cannot think of where to go into. Those that are born under the Gemini, everybody can do blogging. Everybody wants to do blogging. Yes, that is their start point. They can do blogging, but what if yours is not there and you want to go and do blogging? How do you expect to make money from blogging? What if your own is in Leo? You're supposed to be a content creator. A content creator. You understand my point? Leo is also, like I said, young people. Investing in young people is actually, when you hear them saying invest in young population is actually like a big asset now in the global economic system, because Venus is the global economic system, and this is the star of Venus that is used to determine where investments should go to that will be profitable. I don't want to talk about these things for too long. You understand my point? So all that stuff about hookup, the manufacturing of AIDS, all that stuff will be exposed. Nations will clamp down on it. Cures will roll out. Fine, let me just say it. Cures for all that stuff will roll out. AIDS, HIV, all kinds of viruses that have been manufactured in this Scorpio paradigm. That is basically like death. Basically Scorpio, death, sex, death, and all of that stuff. So it was a very, very hot period. And it's going to end this year. And once he does that now, the morning star in Libra, where Venus is going to station direct after going retrograde. Because Venus retrogrades for 40 days. So for those that want to understand what this whole 40 days, 40 night system is, all that stuff they told you in the Bible, that's Venus. 40 days and 40 nights, that's Venus. So when it starts to go retrograde before it conjuncts the sun, it does something like it's letting go of everything in the past that has to do with that particular sign. The previous one. I don't want to go into all the details, don't worry. But when it moves, it conjuncts the sun here. Then it's going to be a morning star, where it's going to station direct. That's when it's going to station direct. So when it stations direct, as morning star in Libra, that is signaling the dawn. So basically when I mean the morning star, if you have a big enough telescope, or you are in a place where the sky is very clear, if you wake up early in the morning, like depending on how far Venus is from the sun, maybe like an hour before the sun rises, you will see Venus. That's when you see the star of Venus. This is the star, this is the star of Venus. You can see it as the pentagram, and you can also consider it to be the 5-pointed star. You understand me? It's all still the same thing. That is the perfect man. That is the twain that came together to become one. Becomes the perfect man. That is the perfected man. So when you balance the energy, the feminine and masculine energy in you, That's Venus. This is the perfect creation. You understand? This is the perfect creation. The five senses, the five fingers. Forget those things they tell you about it. We used to have 4 fingers before. It was all a stage of evolution. This is the perfected man in the serene form. Yes. In case you people are wondering. So I think I've actually touched on a huge portion of this stuff. So yeah. I'll see you guys in another video.